सो अब क्वेसन नम्बर 32 मा जानुभन्दाखेरि अगाडि एउटा कन्सेप्ट कम्पोजिट बीईपी युनिट्स, हाउ टु क्याल्कुलेट कम्पोजिट ब्रेक इभन पोइन्ट अथवा रिक्वायर्ड सेल्स। सो कम्पोजिट बीईपी युनिट्स भनेको कमन फिक्स कस्ट बाई तल के गर्नु पर्यो भन्दा कम्पोजिट कन्ट्रिब्युसन पर युनिट यो निकाल्नु पर्यो। यो भनेको यसको फर्मुला वेट डब्लुए, यसको फर्मुला यही भइहाल्यो है। अनि त्यसपछि अब रुपिजमा त्यो युनिट्समा थियो भने रुपिजमा के गर्नु पर्यो कम्पोजिट पिबिआरले डिभाइड गर्नु पर्यो अनि त्यहाँ यानी पिबिआरले मल्टिप्लाई गर्नु पर्यो। सो क्वेसन नम्बर 32 मा त्यही फर्मुला एप्लिकेसन कम्पोजिट बीईपी निकाल्यो, प्रेजेन्ट पिरियडमा पनि निकाल्यो अनि फ्युचर पिरियडमा पनि निकाल्यो है। अब प्रेजेन्ट र फ्युचरको निकालिसकेपछि प्रेजेन्टको भन्दा बीईपी कम्पोजिट बीईपी धेरै आयो है। अब यो 4 लाख भन्दा 5 लाख चाहिँ किन 5 लाख चाहिँ किन बढ्यो भन्दाखेरि 4 लाख भन्दा यो जस्तै कि यो रिजनले पिबिआर हाई दिने प्रडक्ट जुन थियो नि पहिला एबीसीडी प्रडक्ट छ त्यसमा अब जुन चाहिँले पिबिआर हाई दिन्थ्यो हैन, जुन चाहिँको पिबिआर हाई थियो 40 32 20 60 भनेपछि 60% पिबिआर छ भन्दा हाई हो कि हैन। अब यो जुन 0.08 थियो भने 0.05 भएछ क्या, हो यसरी घट्छ क्या। यसरी घटेको कारणले चाहिँ जुन चाहिँ पिबिआर हाई दिन्थ्यो प्रडक्टले त्यसको वेट चाहिँ घट्यो नि त। वेट घटिसकेपछि त्यही भएर चाहिँ रिजन देयर इज द्याट्स द रिजन इन इन्क्रिजिङ अफ बीईपी इन द फ्युचर पिरियड है। त्यति नै हो। अनि त्यसपछि क्वेसनमा एउटा कन्फ्युजिङ भन्दा नि जोकिन सक्ने पार्ट के छ भन्दा दि अपरेटिङ कस्ट एज अ पर्सेन्टेज अफ सेलिङ प्राइस भने अपरेटिङ कस्ट भनेको के हो, अपरेटिङ कस्ट भने भेरिएबल कस्ट अरे के। दि अपरेटिङ कस्ट एज अ पर्सेन्टेज अफ सेलिङ प्राइस भनेको भेरिएबल कस्ट भिसिआर दिएको हो क्या, भेरिएबल कस्ट रेसियो। अब यो 60% ए को 60% हो भने 40% पिभी यसको पिभी रेसियो होइन त भनेर यो 40% त्यसकै 100% माइनस 60% गर्दा त्यसरी आउँछ। क्वेसन नम्बर 33 मा चाहिँ एडिसनल सेल्स रिक्वायर्ड फर इच प्रोडक्ट टु अभोइड करेन्ट लस। करेन्ट लस कति रहेछ भन्दाखेरि 37,200 चाहिँ लस रहेछ हैन। अब यसलाई गर्ने मेथड दुईटा छ। फर्स्ट मेथड चाहिँ के भयो भन्दा यो अगाडि गरे जस्तो कम्पोजिट बीईपी निकाल्यो अनि यसरी कम्पोजिट बीईपी आयो अनि सेल्स मिक्सले मल्टिप्लाई गरेर सेल्स बीईपी सेल्स अफ इच प्रडक्ट आइहाल्छ। अनि त्यसरी करेन्ट सेल्स चाहिँ कति छ भने यो क्वेसनले दिएको छ अनि त्यो माइनस त्यो गरेर रिक्वायर्ड इन्क्रिमेन्ट इन सेल्स इच प्रडक्टको कति हुन्छ भनेर यसरी निकाल्यो अनि 1 लाख भयो। अनि त्यसकै अब त्यो इच प्रडक्टको अब 20 इन्टु त्यसको पिभी रेसियोले मल्टिप्लाई गरेर यसरी यो चाहिँ नट फर एक्जाम यसरी मल्टिप्लाई गरेपछि 37,200 को एडिसनल कन्ट्रिब्युसन आउँछ जुन चाहिँले चाहिँ लसलाई चाहिँ बियर गरिदिन्छ। अब अल्टरनेटिभली के गर्न सक्यो भन्दा एडिसनल सेल्स रिक्वायर्ड टु रिकभर लसमा सिधै प्रफिट इक्वल टु लस बाई कम्पोजिट पिबिआर गरेर 37,200 बाई 37.2% भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि कम्पोजिट पिबिआर त्यो हामीले कसरी निकाल्छौँ यो वर्किङ नोटमा यो त्यही अगाडि गरे जस्तै वेट इन्टु पिबिआर बाई यो फर्मुला युज गरेर यसरी आउँछ। 1 लाख आयो अनि 1 लाखलाई यसरी उ गर्नुपर्छ 20 32 48 भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि यही वेट हो अथवा सेल्स मिक्स माथि जुनले मल्टिप्लाई गरेको थियो पर्सेन्टेज त्यसरी उ गरेर इन्क्रिमेन्टल सेल्स रिक्वायर्ड भन्ने आइहाल्छ डाइरेक्टली हैन। अनि त्यसपछि अब त्यसै गरी यो चाहिँ एडिसनल सेल्स रिक्वायर्ड टु रिकभर लस अफ अल कम्बाइन्डली हुन्छ त कम्बाइन्डली हाउ टु रिकभर लस भन्ने कुरा थियो। यो चाहिँ अब इन्डिभिजुअल प्रोडक्ट कुनै एउटा इन्डिभिजुअलले 37,200 बियर गर्नु पर्यो भने चाहिँ कतिको सेल्स चाहिन्छ त्यही इन्डिभिजुअलको प्रडक्ट भनिसकेपछि प्रफिट इक्वल्स टु लस सेम फर्मुला माथि तल कम्पोजिट पिबिआर थियो भने अब चाहिँ इन्डिभिजुअल पिबिआर। अब इन्डिभिजुअल पिबिआर ए को कति 50% रहेछ, बी को 40, सी को 30 रहेछ। यसरी अब ए को यदि सेल्स बढ्यो भने यो दुईटा नभए नि हुन्छ हैन। अब यसले लस बियर गरिदिइहाल्छ। यहाँ चाहिँ के पर्यो भन्दाखेरि यस एबिसी को यो हामीले 30 जुन छ नि 1 लाख सेल बढाउने भनेको यो तीनटैको सेल यतिले बढ्यो भने मात्रै चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि तीनटैको यतिले टोटलमा 1 लाखले बढ्यो भने मात्र त्यो 37,200 को लस बियर हुन्छ कम्बाइन्डली उ हेर्ने हो भने। अब सिंगल ए को मात्र हेर्ने हो भने 74,400 ले हुने रहेछ हैन। अब बी को चाहिँ 93,000 चाहिने रहेछ, सी को त झन् 1,24,000 चाहिने रहेछ, किनभने पिभी रेसियोको कुरा हो नि त। यसको 50% छ भने यसको कम चाहिन्छ, यसको 30% मात्र पिभी रेसियो छ, 30% मात्र कन्ट्रिब्युसन दिन्छ अफ सेल्स भने यसको बेसी चाहिन्छ। क्वेसन नम्बर 33 इजी। क्वेसन नम्बर 34 पनि इजी नै छ। क्वेसन नम्बर 34 मा चाहिँ क्वेसन नम्बर 34 मा केही पनि छैन, जस्ट यहाँ क्वान्टिटी सिफ्टिङ हुन्छ नि। जब क्वान्टिटी सिफ्टिङ हुन्छ तब पनि पिभीआर र भिसिआर विल रिमेन सेम। किनभने जस्तै कि कोकोनटको सेल्स 25 लाखले घटाइदिएर यता 12 लाख ग्लुकोजमा अनि यता 12 लाख हालिदियो भने यसको सेल्स मात्र बढेन नि त, यसको नि त भेरिएबल कस्ट बढ्यो नि त। सो भेरिएबल कस्ट र भेरिएबल कस्ट रेसियो जति थियो पहिला त्यति नै हुन्छ, राइट। विच बेसिकली मिन्स if variable cost ratio is same, then the PV ratio will also be the same. So there is no change in VCR and PVR. त्यति नै हो, and that's easy. And this is the reason of reduction in overall BEP. Your lower PVR को product को sales shift to higher PVR को product भनेको I को ठ्याक्क opposite भयो यहाँ से। Okay, moving on to question number 36. Question number 35. We have another new concept that is of cost indifference point, which is also called cost break-even point. Okay guys, so I'll be trying to speak as much English as I can, so I'll practice my English as well. Alright, so question number 35. Alright, cost indifference point. So here we need to remember the formula. This is the formula: difference in fixed cost by difference in variable cost per unit. That's it, easy as usual. And then while making the decision, if the production unit, that is this 50,000, if the production unit is equals to cost indifference point, right? So this is the cost indifference point we have calculated in this question number 35, right? So if the production unit, the actual production unit, is equal to this unit CIP, that is cost indifference point, that is 50,000 units, then we can choose either of the machine X or machine Y. There won't be any cost difference. There won't be more cost in one machine and less cost in another if production unit is equal to CIP. But if production unit is less than CIP, then we need to choose the machine with lower fixed cost. And if the production unit is greater than CIP, that is cost indifference point, then we should choose the machine, select the machine with low variable cost per unit. Why? Because variable cost low छ भने धेरै units बनाए राम्रो, it's said. So question number 36, moving on to 36. So in question number 36, the exact concept, but here we have profit indifference point. So what we did in cost indifference point is divided difference in fixed cost by difference in variable cost per unit, but now we will be dividing by difference in contribution per unit. So this will give us profit indifference point. It's easy. What I've written, that's the same thing. Divide by variable cost per unit in CIP, cost indifference point, and divide by contribution per unit in profit indifference point. So here everything is okay. I'm talking about the decision making 3 points. So the only thing you need to remember is this line: if the expected production and sales unit is more than the PIP units, that is profit indifference point units, that is 7,000 units in this question, then you should not be writing the same thing that you wrote in the CIP, that is lower variable cost per unit machine should be chosen. That's wrong. You should be writing higher contribution per unit machine should be chosen instead, that is machine A. So here another thing you need to consider, that is here the probability of having production and sales above 7,000 is high, so we should select machine A, right? This is the point number B. Second point, how do we determine that there is the high probability? Is it given in the question number 35, question number 36, right? Yes, question number 36. No, it's not given. See, there is no probability at all. This is net profit ratio. So how will we determine that there is high probability that the organization will produce more than 7,100 units? Is the gap. See, if the expected level of production is between 6,500 units to 10,000 units as a cost of control, which machine would you suggest and why? Expected level of production is between 6,000 units to 10,000 units, and what is the PIP units? It's 7,000 units. So the gap between the range, that is see, probability high cause 6,000 र 7,000 को gap भन्दा 7,000 र 10,000 को gap धेरै छ. You understood that, right? So that is it, easy. Moving on to question number 37. It's nothing, the same thing, profit indifference point, and that's done by me. And question number 38. Question number 38 is CIP in days, cost indifference point in days. Why days? How days? Because there is it's about two girls, or let's say two women, Aishwarya and Susmita, and the more days they are hired, or let's say they are retained, the company should be bearing more variable cost or something like that. There's some question, something like that. So the cost indifference point will be in days. All right, so the upper thing is same, difference in fixed cost, and it was difference in variable cost per unit. Now it's difference in variable cost per day. All right, not per unit but per day. This is the only thing, and it's easy. Question number 39. Moving on to question number 39. Question number 39 is easy as well. Nothing much in question number 39. Previously we calculated profit indifference point in units. That is, the formula was difference in fixed cost by difference in contribution per unit. And here, while we are calculating profit indifference point in terms of rupees, in terms of value, we should be dividing by difference in PVR, not contribution per unit. Moving on to question number 40. It's also easy, but here we need to be alert of some things, and the thing is this particular line. In one company, the fixed cost were double the variable cost, while in the other it was quite opposite. The variable cost were double the fixed cost. Alright, so the question has given sales, is company 1, is company 2. The question has given sales as well as profit, that is 10% of sales for both the companies, that is same, 10 lakhs and 1 lakhs. Alright, 10 lakh sales, 1 lakh profit for each. And then now we gotta use that wording, we gotta use that sentence. Alright, so it says in one company the fixed cost is double of the variable cost. So balancing, we have sales 10 lakhs and then the profit is 1 lakh, then the balancing figure is 9 lakhs. So 9 lakhs should be divided into variable cost and fixed cost, right? So dividing 9 lakh into variable cost and fixed cost in such a way that the fixed cost is double in the company 1 will be that will only be true if we keep variable cost as 3 lakh and then fixed cost as 6 lakh, double of it. And then in company 2 it will be quite exactly the opposite, that is 6 lakhs will be variable cost and the half will be the fixed cost. Alright, so that's the thing you need to be alert of, you need to consider. And then the while making the decision, so if sales is equal to profit indifference sales, then both the company will earn equal profit. Alright, but if the sales is less than PIP, profit indifference point sales, alright, then lower fixed cost company will earn greater profit, and if it's more, higher PVR company will earn greater profit. So which one is the riskier company? Of course the company with the higher fixed cost, in this case company A, company 1, which also has higher PVR, right? So yes, so this question teaches us, or let's say suggests, that profit indifference point does not mean that two companies will always earn equal profit. No, it doesn't suggest that. It just suggests that if the sales is equal to PIP sales, then both the company will earn equal profit at that level of sales only. If it's higher and if it's lower, then definitely the profit's gonna be higher and lower, and there will be a difference. All right, so question number 40, that's it, easy. Question number 41 is also easy. So question number 41 is shutdown point. So question number 41 is pretty simple. It's about shutdown point, as I said, right? So the formula for shutdown point is avoidable fixed cost by contribution per unit. Avoidable fixed cost means extra fixed cost if continued. All right, so basically the segregation is avoidable fixed cost is calculated by total fixed cost minus unavoidable will give us avoidable, right? So that divided by contribution per unit will give us shutdown point units. So yeah, that is the only thing. And what's the meaning of shutdown point is that, okay, so concept of shutdown point, so this is not shutting down the company for permanently. All right, it's about shutting down the company for some time. Sometimes the business may face temporary difficulties, right, due to which we need to close the business for some time. So here we need to decide whether to continue or discontinue the operation. So for example, there is 75,000 rent and 45,000 salary. These are fixed costs. All right, which basically means that here rent is unavoidable, right, and salary is avoidable. Why? Because if we close the operation, we should not be paying salary. All right, but if we close the operation, we are not shutting it down permanently, so it's still our materials are there in the like place itself, the factory itself, so it's unavoidable fixed cost. So here's the thing, and there are two options: continue or shut down. If shut down, then no sales, no cost, only fixed cost 75,000, and that means a loss of 75,000, that is pure. And here if we continue, there can be some sales, right, and then which will give us some contribution, but our fixed cost will be 1,20,000, that is 75,000 plus 45,000. 45,000 is salary and this is rent. So 45,000 is also not avoidable, because it is avoidable, but if we continue we need to pay those, right? So here we equalize loss if continue with loss if discontinue, and then we get the formula: shutdown point, total fixed cost minus total unavoidable fixed cost by contribution per unit. So here we got 45,000 units as shutdown point, which basically means that if we sell 45,000 units, they will give us 45,000 contribution, 45,000 rupees contribution, because contribution per unit is 10. So 4,500 units times 10 rupees contribution per unit, then it will give us rupees 45,000, right, which will be sufficient to cover the salary only. So we'll eventually get the loss of 75,000 due to the unavoidable cost, that is rent. So this basically means that there's a confusion. The confusion is while we are talking about significance. What's the significance of shutdown point? So here's the thing: if expected demand is equal to shutdown point, then what will you do in this situation? Will you close your business or will you continue? So choose either option. No. Discontinue? Never. Continue. Why? Because there are reasons, that is, they are non-monetary factors, right? So what's its meaning is that if expected demand, suppose if expected demand is 4,500 units, all right, if expected demand is 4,500 units and then shutdown point units are also 4,500 units, like as we calculated here, all right, so both are the same, which basically means that even if we continue, we'll get a loss of 75,000, and even if we discontinue, we'll get a loss of 75,000. So you might think that why should I continue? I can just close the business, right? Because why should you be taking the tension or stress of the business? But here's the thing: you should continue because there are non-monetary factors. So they are retrench workers, repair and maintenance on reopening. Oh my god, If so, then I'll definitely continue. Goodwill damage, loss of customer, right? So, and here are the absolute decisions which you already knew. If expected demand is greater than shutdown point, then you will definitely continue. But if the expected demand is less than shutdown point, oh, it's less than shutdown point, then which basically means that there was the possibility that we would only suffer 75,000 loss. But if the expected demand is less than the shutdown point itself, then we will not just bear 75,000, we will bear more loss. Then we gotta discontinue. Okay, you might say that, but still consider, you need to consider non-monetary factors. You need to analyze them. Alright, so moving on to question number 42. Okay, in question number 42, it's about shutdown in terms of rupees, in terms of value. So basically we will be dividing by PVR instead of contribution per unit, right? Yes, and we'll get 1,37,500 as shutdown point in terms of rupees. So it is better to lock the business if sales is less than shutdown rupees, that is 1,37,500 units. This is our decision, and we can even write, but we need to consider non-monetary factors as well, right? So that is it. Question number 42, easy. Okay, there's a new concept, key factor. So key factor is important for cap 3 as well, for cap 2 as well. It is also known as limiting factor. This will only apply when three conditions are cumulatively fulfilled. They are multiple products, resources are common, and another is limited resource. Alright, so that's the thing. Moving on to question number 43, which is easy. So it's all about ranking, and it's about allocation. So here's the thing. So here's finished product A, finished product B. Contribution will be 15 per unit and 10 per unit. Oh, which means this should be ranked first. No, our limiting factor here is labor, as per the question. Okay, labor hour. So labor hour per unit will be labor hour per unit. This means that 2 hours is required for producing 1 unit of A, and for product B 1 hour is only required. So contribution then we will be getting into the contribution per labor hour, that is 7.5 per hour and 10 per hour for B. So we might say that contribution for A is higher, that is 15 per unit, and B is only 10 rupees per unit. So product A, finished product A should be ranked 1, but it's ranked 2. Why? Because the limiting factor is the key factor. The limiting factor is contribution labor hour. So we gotta rank products according to contribution per labor hour, that is 7.5 hour per hour and 10 per hour. Which one is greater? Which one is higher? 10 per hour. This means finished product B gives 10 rupees contribution per labor hour, so it gotta be ranked higher, and it gotta be ranked 1. Alright, so that's ranking. And then allocation. Yes, we'll be allocating first for rank, that is limited to maximum demand in this question. And then yes, that is it. And question number 44, that is same as 43. And moving on to question number 45. Okay, before that we'll be moving on to question number 46. I'm sorry. So here's the thing, statement of ranking same, allocation same, statement showing contribution same, but fixed cost. Here's the fixed cost. Alright, so what we should be doing is we need to deduct fixed cost before arriving at profit, right? So here we should not deduct the allocated fixed cost, that is 150 units of A, 5,000 units of B, right? The one which we allocated. That's we should not be doing that. Fixed cost means fixed cost, so it will be according to the budgeted. Alright, so 1800 units. So 18. Oh my god, they are so. Alright, so 1800 units times 10. These are budgeted units. Alright, so we'll be using budgeted units times fixed cost per unit is given in the question itself. Here it is, fixed overhead rupees 10, rupees 12, rupees 5, right? So yeah, we'll be using budgeted, not allocated. because fixed costs are always the same, because you allocated the, this one can be different, right, according to our ranking, so it must be according to the budgeted. And then there is extension. If 18,600 hours is not given in the question, which is our limiting factor, alright, how will you calculate the available hours? Then we will be using the same budgeted units, alright, so we'll be using the same budgeted units times hours times 4 hours for 1 unit of A, and we'll sum up those and then we'll get 18,600 units. Question number 46 is easy, and then we move on to question number 47. Question number 47 is also easy. Question number 47 is also easy. So here's the thing, it's about specific requirement, alright. So what does that mean? Specific requirement means even if it's ranked at last, see, it's ranked 3, it's ranked 3rd, but the question is saying that there is specific requirement, then at first we should be allocating the units to C. Alright, so that's the thing. And then the next thing is 562.5 units. What's that? Pointed units in points. That came when we allocated the resources, right? What we basically did was we allocated 500 units for C. We allocated 2400 units for C, right? And then 2400 units for C, 4000 units for A, that is rank 1, right? And the thing is, it was limited to maximum demand, and after that we went to rank 2, that is B, right? So, and then the balancing figure would be, see, it was 10,000 kg. We this key factor, which is imported materials, were 10,000 kgs. So we allocated imported materials at first 2400 kg, and then 4000 kg limited to maximum demand, and this is balancing figure, that is 3600 kg. And then after we divide by how many kgs of raw material are needed, that is 3600 by 6.4 will get this one, and 4000 by 4 will get 100,000 units of A, right? So while doing that, we came into this, that is 562.5 units, that is 3600 kg divided by 6.4 kg will give 562.5 units. So here we are calculating estimated profit, not actual profit, right? Which is why we can also take that sale in decimal units as well. That's the only thing. But if it was actual, we would not do that. We would actually go for higher or lower, I guess. Okay, so here's the thing. Here we have used limited, that is key factor, limiting factor, as imported materials, not as labor hour. In part 2 we have made the statement of ranking as per labor hour, alright, but we are using the first one, because here it's written availability of imported material is restricted to this 10,000 kgs, alright. And the next thing is, here question is asking to prepare a statement showing comparative profitability of the 3 products. Oh, you might understand that you need to prepare this statement of profit, that is with sales mix, but you cannot prepare that because the information of maximum demand of each product and available resources is not given in the question. It's only given in the part 3. So in the part 3 only you will prepare profitability statement, alright, like this. That is it. And moving on, so basically in question number 48 nothing has happened, but there is a tie, both are ranked 1, because contribution per labor hour per limiting factor is 1.5 per hour, 1.5 per hour for both. These plus minus are something that you should not consider. That was due to the questions defect, right? It's already corrected. So if there is tie, allocate resources arbitrarily as you like. So here both are ranked 1, right? So you need to match the minimum at first, you know it, and then you can provide the balance to any of them. So here I'm providing the balance to product B, and making the statement of contribution and profit at last, right? And there is alternative. See, what's the alternative? You definitely know that you can provide the minimum to both of them and then balance to A. Now you give that to B, now you can give that to A. That is 40,000 hours balancing figure. 40,000 hours balancing figure. But the thing is, here only 20,000 units can be produced. Here 40,000 units can be produced, but it's not of a difference because both are ranked 1, both have similar contribution. That's the only thing. That is it. Easy. If tie, allocate arbitrarily. That is it.